Good afternoon, I'm John Kamak. I'm also a member of the Brain Futures Advisory Board. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Alvaro Fernandez, the CEO of SharpBrains, which is a market research firm involved in studying the type of companies that Adam just talked to us about, those that are innovative in brain health and fitness. SharpBrains' mission is to inform consumers on proper use of these products and to evaluate the evidence behind any particular brain-based product. Alvaro is the editor of the SharpBrains blog and website, which is quite rich in articles related to the topic of today's conference. He also is the co-editor of the SharpBrains Guide to Brain Fitness, which is a very good consumer guide for those interested in using these interventions. Alvaro is also on the World Economic Forum's Council for the Future of Human Enhancement. Finally, today he'll be speaking to us about what's moving from the lab to commercialization, what it means for each of us as a consumer of these tools, and what the future holds for us. Alvaro, welcome.
So I had to do some exercise, as you can see, to be awake and attentive with all of you. And it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Alvaro Fernandez Ibañez, so I'm not the same one as came before me. But let me ask all of you, how many times in your life have you been to a conference where in the same afternoon you had two Alvaros speaking? So it's a historic event. We have just 20 minutes now. I will try to give a quick overview of what's happening from the market perspective, but also from the research perspective, from the technology perspective, basic to wrap up in summary the day. So first of all, it's like a miracle that I'm following Norman and Alvaro and John and Adam. I'm from Spain originally, from the Basque Country. I'm an economist and business guy and educator. And 10 years ago, I was reading all the amazing books of these amazing scientists, and I was thinking, if even half of these things are true, everything has to change in society, how we educate our children, how we stay productive and resilient in our workplaces, how we help older adults stay independent, stay active citizens. And then I, with a scientist called Elhon and Goldberg, created a company to track everything which is new. New technologies, new research, new patents, new companies, new investments, new public health initiatives, because we thought it was very important to play that role. There is a new marketplace. This is like a Wild West. Let's help civilize that Wild West. And we do that with reports. We do that with conferences. We do that with books as well. So you can think of us, SharpBrains, as half market research company, like Gartner Group. If there is semiconductors or nanotechnology new industry, someone is playing that role of synthesizing the opportunities and the challenges and the market trends, and have consumer reports. So trying to explain the science and how to break it down so people can use it. So what I want to do today, first of all, is to give you a very high-level picture of what I think is a huge opportunity we have. And again, I'm going to be quite fast because, first of all, I speak fast. But second, because many of the points I'm going to make really build perfectly on what you have been hearing for many hours. So I don't want to make all the points again. So these are 5, if we had to summarize, from my perspective, the whole day, the whole opportunity we have ahead of us, I would suggest it is these 5 points. Number 1, 7.5 billion brains are out there, and every single brain needs help to thrive in today's society. Lives are longer, workplaces are more complex, so this is not about the clinical world or medicine. This is absolutely every single person on Earth. Number 2 is the concept that we have been hearing about of lifelong neuroplasticity. So if that is true, how do we harness that for good versus let it go for bad. Number 3 is the explosion of technologies. The digital revolution, the smartphones we all have, the computers, the sensors, the wearables, even scary TVCS devices that, as Alvaro was talking, people are applying on themselves, that's available. So how can we use that revolution to monitor our brain function, to improve it at any point in our lives? Number 4 is that there's an explosion of people worldwide who have realized this. So there's hundreds of companies, develop and research labs doing fascinating work. And then the last one maybe is the most important for this audience. I understand most of you are professionals, either in mental health or brain health or education or technology. So people are going to be looking for all of us in this room to offer guidance. People out there are super interested, but completely confused. And frankly, the media is not helping a lot, because the media is more about what's the latest headline that will contradict whatever said the day before. So people are completely confused, and they're going to be looking for professionals. Okay, help me navigate the options. What applies to me? So we have a huge opportunity here. Again, going quickly, we do many surveys, focus groups to understand people. And then once we understand people's need, we can reverse engineer, as Alvaro also said, okay, what are the opportunities, the assessments, the monitoring tools, the therapies they need? But from one of these surveys we did a few years ago, I just want to bring your attention to the top top right. 83% of the people we asked responded that they wanted to have an annual mental health checkup. So the same concept of the physical checkup. Well, what happens to our mind? Right now, people are completely confused because we don't see our brains, we don't see our minds, and there is no baselines for us to notice what is getting better, what is going worse. If I try on any of these games or exercises, how do I measure myself? Is it helping me? Is it not? So people are super interested in assessments, monitoring tools. You have a few examples out there in the expo, but this is one area where we have seen huge growth in the marketplace, and it's only going to be even faster because people are clamoring for it. So this is what the black line is basically on average brain function as we get older. And that reflects what Adam was showing in his slides, that again, this is average. There's huge variability and more variability as people get older. But on average, for many important functions, the peak is at some point in the 30s, and then there's a slow, gradual decline. So the opportunity is how to improve, how to move up that trajectory. The earlier we start, the better, because it creates a bigger of a snowball effect. But at any point in life, we can still move up that curve. And that has two huge benefits. One is it helps us improve our performance. It helps us work better, adapt to society. But two, it helps us delay symptoms of depression or Alzheimer's or cognitive impairment. So this is the opportunity from our perspective right now. And the beautiful thing of digital and non-invasive tools is that this can be applied to the whole population, to those 7.5 billion people. It's not just FDA drugs that can have serious side effects. So historically, they were super carefully delivered for good reason. But if we're talking exercise, or we're talking mindfulness techniques, either going to a retreat or using apps, or we're talking cognitive training through games, there's many opportunities to move up that. Now, what institutions are relevant here? So typically, the institution that deals with brain function, brain health, for kids are schools. So when we're talking kids, probably schools and universities are the obvious vehicles to adopt all these new technologies and to offer guidance to parents and to the students. If we're talking people in their 30s, 40s, probably it's companies. And in fact, we do see a lot of interest already by big companies thinking, how do I use all these guidelines and tools to improve the resilience and productivity of our employees. And I have to tell you, sometimes it is scary what people are thinking about doing. The same way as DARPA and the military is using all kinds of things to improve the performance of soldiers, the same way that, sometimes they use drugs, amphetamines, some sports teams as well. Big companies, and sometimes they retain us, but we help them navigate the options. But looking at all the nootropics, all the supplements, thinking for a scenario of, well, what if we give 50,000 employees this cognitive enhancer? And they are doing the trials to see if that helps or doesn't help. And we try to help them understand, well, maybe there's other interventions that are safer, that don't have side effects. But the thrive to improve performance in companies is already there and very significant. And when we're talking older adults, that's more typically delivered through insurance companies, through AARP, for example, that is big in the US, and many of you know that they are super active now in brain fitness and brain health. So what parts are more relevant depends typically on age. When we view all the technologies becoming available, we find 4 types of technologies that are growing very rapidly. One is all about EEG and brain waves and how to monitor them, how to harness them. Second, neuromonitoring. There's very different approaches, but one could be as simple as your computer or your phone. Just monitoring your activity could predict if maybe you are at risk of depression. And I think tomorrow Tom Insel is going to be talking about his new startup, which is exactly what this is about. Another big one is neurocognitive training, and you have heard, all the commercials about Lumosity or Positive Science. You know the controversy, what works, what doesn't work, but as a category, that's growing extremely rapidly. And the fourth one is a bit of what Alvaro was talking about, different models of neurostimulation. TMS or TDCS, and both of them are growing very quickly. TDCS, truly we are surprised. Personally, I've been tracking this market for 10 years. That truly surprised me. 4 years ago, I would have thought, no, this would never go out of the labs. And then suddenly there's huge groups, thousands of people trying all kinds of things on themselves with no regulation, with no supervision, with no advice, with no professional, hey, this is best practices. Do this, don't do that, at least to help them. So, but those 4 technologies are huge. And the one analysis we perform to detect trends early is we analyze patents. And patents are fascinating, right? Because the societal justification is if you disclose what you are working on, then you can protect that technology for a period of time. And all these patents worldwide now are digitized. So you can do all kinds of searches, and when we apply our searches for the keywords about these 4 types of technologies, that's the blue line. So the blue line is the number of patents filed for the 4 types of technologies year by year. And you can see after year 2010, it's huge. And why is this so important? Because patents often come a few years before the technology is commercialized. So what this suggests is that the next 5 years, we're going to witness the appearance of thousands of companies and thousands of tools that right now we don't even know they exist, but people have been working on them and patenting them. The red line is all the rest of technology patents. So we use that as a baseline, but you can see it's a very high growth area. And just to give you a couple of examples, so there's thousands of patents, but a couple of fun examples. One is these companies trying to measure your mood, and they have a headset to measure your mood based on EEG and change the music based on your mood. And you could customize it. You could say, hey, when I'm feeling sad, this is my favorite song. So bring me that song. Or you want to feel calmer before going to sleep. So you can say, well, based on this brain activity, I want to get ready for sleep. Please play these kind of songs. So this is already becoming available. The other one I don't remember if it's Microsoft or IBM, but basically just through our interaction with our computer, the way that we are either opening many programs or not, moving the cursor a lot or not, clicking or not, they can detect if you are fully focused on one activity, and if so, it will stop all the other notifications, like you receive an email or whatever, because you probably don't want to be distracted where you are truly focused. So computers are going to be much more attentive to our cognition, to our level of attention, our engagement, and reacting to us. So just think of all the opportunities and challenges that's going to bring. One thing that surprised us as well, and every year we do a big report. This one was for, I think, 2 years ago. But what really surprised us when we analyzed the patents was who are the companies holding those patents. Because you could expect, yes, maybe General Electric, maybe Medtronic, but there's companies like Nielsen Company, which is a marketing company, but they have amazing technology that measures attention, and they started using that to evaluate the effectiveness of ads, of advertising. But they're using this now for consumer health. So they have all these devices already in thousands of households, and they're using these EEG systems to monitor your level of attention. And now using artificial intelligence and big data, they can even start to see, is this person at risk of depression? Is there some maybe side effect for medication because performance suddenly declined? And then the question starts to become, what do we do with this data? Do we share this with a doctor? Do we share it with a person? Do we share it with, what is the framework? But this is a revolution, and it's coming mostly from the technology side, not from the pharma side. So pharma still is focused on pharma, but the revolution is technology. It's the big digital companies coming to realize, wow, everyone has one of our devices. It's the perfect mechanism to monitor brain function and to improve brain function. So how do we get there? And what is the big challenge from making progress? So first of all, another survey we did, we asked people, so if you know all this new science about neuroplasticity and brain health and exercise, what do you think is the main problem that prevents more people from benefiting from all this? Number one problem was awareness. People said, well, many people still think it's all genetics, right? Or once you are over 25, your brain is fixed or in decline, there's nothing you can do. So one big problem was awareness. But number two was fascinating, was, no, I know it, I want to do things, but I'm completely confused by all the options. Help me navigate all those claims by different interventions, by different products. And that's, I think, the role and the opportunity for everyone in this room, which is how are we going to help? It's not fighting, this tool is better than that tool, better than that tool. It's help consumers navigate what is the appropriate use, in which context, under which conditions is each tool going to be more beneficial. And they're going to be looking for professionals to provide that advice. So one thing we try to do when we publish books is to synthesize all this evidence. And I'm an educator, so we thought the latest book we published is titled The Sharp Brain's Guide to Brain Fitness. Well, we have to explain to people that it's not one thing or another. It's like a jigsaw, and you have to collect all the pieces and put them together. And this is very important because we have many biases. One big psychological bias is called confirmation bias. So one thing we noticed through our research is that when people read in the media all these brain benefits of mindfulness, they would tell other friends, look, I told you, mindfulness is the best thing for the brain. But then they would completely ignore articles about how aerobic exercise is very important for the brain. But the people who love to exercise, they will look at those articles and tell other friends, look, exercise is the best thing for the brain, and completely ignore mindfulness or cognitive research or nutrition or other things. So we think it's very important when we're talking about different interventions and different tools, nothing is a general solution. There are different parts of a puzzle, and helping people navigate through them. And I don't have the time now to go through each of them. Many of them we have already been covering today. The book is available everywhere. And let me just finish with one thing. So there is one person. So frankly, if I could select the best speaker who should have been here instead of myself, is a scientist called Marianne Diamond, who just died last month. And she was based in Berkeley and other universities, like the mother of a lot of research on neuroplasticity, on mice, on humans. And we invited her to speak and to open our first conference. Every year we do a virtual conference. She opened the first one in 2010. And I asked her, well, open the conference by saying, from your perspective, what is the one most important thing that people need to understand to harness neuroplasticity? So everything. So so you can now say, what would you say from everything we have been discussing today? If you have to say just one thing, what's the most important to harness neuroplasticity, what would you say? I've heard love, I have experience. I heard the answer. Curiosity. So from my perspective, curiosity was the starting point of everything. So to wrap my brief talk, I would like to start there, saying, well, curiosity means what we start doing now. When we go to a reception, meet new people, make new connections, try to remember any new names, but it's all about the curiosity. And when we talk to consumers and to people, curiosity is the mother of all neuroplasticity, and the more curiosity we can create, the better. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
So it's time for some curiosity in the expo. I want to thank all of our terrific speakers for being here this afternoon. I hope it was good food for thought for all of you. And now we have some, in addition to all of the things you can visit in the expo, we have some healthy snacks. We have a healthy cooking demonstration. We have a couple of more mini TED Talks, lots of things to try out in there. And we will reconvene. Breakfast starts at 7:30 tomorrow here, and we'll reconvene for a program in this ballroom at 8:15. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the day.